celebrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now.
John Calloway, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday.
When I was a boy, each week on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. And when I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad, miracles don't happen still. But now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water wasn't rare at best, barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverend air, 'cause everything is holy now. Child's face, say it's not a testament, that'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come, say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. But I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now.
Good morning. You look so beautiful. I love seeing you. I love seeing you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You make my heart sing and want to dance. So thank you. So just a real quick announcement before we begin. Today is the very first day that you have the option to wear your mask or not wear your mask. It's totally up to you. We're still going to try to keep 6 feet distancing and all hugging out there, but that will eventually change too. So I want to thank you for coming. And I do want to say, I don't know how many of you really paid attention to that song. I mean, I encourage you that when the music begins, to find your seats and get yourself into, settle in and open your hearts and your mind. That it was a beautiful song. Everything is holy now. So I encourage you that as we come in on Sundays, that you prepare your heart. As soon as that music begins, get into that space and allow yourself to hear it. We choose it carefully for you because we know it sets the tone. So everything is holy now. You are holy. Those trees are holy. Everything is holy. So I'm Rev Luz, for those of you that are watching out there in YouTube and Facebook land. We love and bless you. Thank you for being with us today. Unity of Citrus is a loving, caring, healing, accepting community where we truly have shown each other how to do this, how to put love in action. We've done that for months and months and months and months and months. And here we are, full of the gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you, each and every one of you. I don't know where to begin. I want to say so much. So what I like you to do now is just turn to your neighbor and say hello right where you are. Hello, everybody. Hello. It fills my heart with joy to see some of you that I have not seen in a very, very long time. And I'm so glad you're here. Now turn around and say hello to our YouTube and Facebook family. Hello, YouTube and Facebook family. We love you. We bless you. Thank you for being with us. Wow, all these chairs are filled. Ah, this is wonderful. Anyway, let's take a moment now to begin to center ourselves, to move into that space where our minds and our hearts are open, wide open, ready to receive. And take a deep breath. And we release that. And allow ourselves to, our little heart, to be filled with gratitude. Wow, it's such a beautiful day. This is the day the Lord has made, and we rejoice and we are glad in it. Infinite possibilities await us. We're surrounded by a presence of love that holds us and really is greater than anything that can ever show up in our lives. We are that expression of that presence. And so where we are is holy ground. Perfect, beautiful, powerful. And so we're here, we know, by divine appointment. There are no accidents in the universe. All things are working all together for our good. And so we're here today to celebrate the truth that we know. God is I am. More than enough. More beautiful, more powerful, more wise, more than enough. And today I open my heart, we open our hearts and our mind. Allow it to be tenderly receptive to all that the universe wants to show us. We know that we will not leave this place as we came. If our mind and our heart is open, we will be renewed and we will be transformed. So in the spirit of oneness, with the awareness that God is where we are, with joy and gratitude in our hearts, we enter our moments together, right here, right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Loving presence. And so it is. So I invite you to say our affirmation of oneness with me. There is one power and one presence in the universe and in my life. God the good, all-powerful, all-knowing, everywhere present, right here, right now, God. Namaste.
This moment now, this moment now, this moment now, this moment now, it's all there is, it's all there is, it's all there is. This moment now, it's all there is, and all we have, and all we need is here in this moment. Be this moment now, this moment now, this moment now, this moment.
Good morning. Beautiful song, bringing in the presence of Spirit into our hearts. It's that time in our service when we meditate and we devote our time and attention to nurturing and renewing prayer. I invite you to close your eyes now if it feels comfortable for you, inviting Spirit into your hearts. We breathe as a way of clearing a cluttered brain and settling into peaceful stillness. We reconnect with our intact spiritual nature, which is wholeness and well-being, recognizing our oneness with God. We begin by affirming, my mind quiets in the presence of divine peace. With every mindful breath, I breathe in peace. Every exhalation is a letting go into the peace of the present moment, soothing my body and calming my thoughts. I rest in my natural state of spiritual well-being, unperturbed by any sensation or circumstance. I relax into peaceful stillness. In the silence of prayer, I hear a whisper of truth. Every breath takes me deeper, more fully into peaceful stillness in which I suspend human reasoning and searching. I rely upon spiritual wisdom, a quiet nudging of intuition to arise as a whisper of knowing. Questions and concerns resolve naturally from the silence, and I respond with confidence and courage. God is the breath of life, the vitality in my body and being. Each breath reminds me of the continuous flow of divine life that is my animating and vitalizing power. I envision divine life as a potent, healing stream of rejuvenation, reaching every structure and space in my body. By the power of divine life, I am fully alive, whole in body, mind, and spirit. I am rich in divine ideas, wealthy in divine abundance. Breathing freely in and out, I draw upon limitless substance to access abundant health, wealth, wisdom, and strength for every moment's need. I release patterns of thought based on lack and limitation, and I lift my mind to notice an endless supply of free-flowing divine ideas. The road ahead may be unseen, but I walk by faith and not by sight. Easily I breathe, trusting in every ordered step forward. By the perceiving power of faith, I never have to worry. Instead, I perceive the underlying and pervasive presence of God, of good, as I take my next steps forward. I walk by faith with appreciation for the restorative power of prayer. We turn our thoughts to the hours ahead. We are fortified by faith, life, and wisdom. Peacefully, we proceed. Gratefully, we conclude our time by returning to this now moment. Whenever you are ready, rise from your meditation and open your eyes. Namaste.
Thank you, Z, for that lovely meditation. Oh, boy. You know, months and months ago, I had read this book, Hell in the Hallway, Light Beyond the Door. And I knew back then that I would somehow use it as a series here. And how appropriate that it is happening now. There is such a divine order to all things. The series really deals with change in our lives and transition, that spiritual journey that we go through when change happens and we're transitioning and we're transforming, ready and willing to walk into the light of the open new door. And it's not easy sometimes, but we know that the one thing we can count on this universe is that change will happen. That's what it is. Change will happen. And sometimes it comes like a gentle little nudge that moves us from one room experience of life into another room experience of life. And sometimes it comes like a mighty force that kicks you, you know where, and moves you beyond where you are at and letting you know in no uncertain terms that that door is closed and you are now in the hallway. And that hallway experience, that time of transitioning, is not always pleasant. Matter of fact, it's hard. It's hard being there. And we've been talking about some of the things that happen in that hallway. We know that, though, that the main thing, the main work that we need to do there is to grieve. To grieve what was, to allow ourselves to surrender to what is, and to forgive whatever needs to be forgiven, including ourselves. Because we know that forgiveness is the medicine for the soul. It's what frees us. And in that journey, people will come and they will offer their support. Let them give it to you. Because they are really, truly the manifestation of divine love flowing through them. You, helping to harmonize everything. Feeling that divine love is revealing itself through all the people that show up in your life. So let them in. And the one thing that I know when I have heard or read any story, any hallway story at time of transition, is that prayer is always mentioned. Either prayer that they've done for themselves, or prayers for others, or prayers that they have received from others. Prayer helps them get through that experience. Union with God. And yes, that is exactly true. It is a way of us to connect with this incredible force that created all things. It holds all things together, that is all-knowing, all-powerful, everywhere present. And guess what? We have the capacity to connect with that, to have communion with that. Charles Fillmore, who is the co-founder of our Unity movement, says that prayer is the most highly accelerated mind action known. It steps up mental action until man's consciousness synchronizes with the Christ mind. Often is the language of spirit. You see, we exist, all life exists, because there is this creative, loving, divine energy that chooses to express itself through its creation, through you, through me, through everything. And we call this energy God or Allah or whatever we want to call it, Dios, it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be called anything. And you are that expression of God. You are that. God expressing through you and one with it. Never, ever separated. Your life is God's life. Take that in. Your life is God's life. The breath of God in you. I remember Tom Carpenter, our beloved Tom Carpenter. He comes clearly to me so many times. And as I was writing this, I remember his words. He said, his affirmations were, God's life is my life. And that life is perfect. And that life is my life right now. And I remember this affirmation. I am reminded that I have everything that I need to meet whatever challenge comes into my life. Everything. I can overcome the hardship, the sadness, the limitations, because there is a power within me that is greater than any circumstance that I will ever face. I have all the love, all the energy, all the wisdom, all the enthusiasm. I have all of these powers within me. God's life is my life, and it is yours as well. Sometimes in life, though, I tell you, I don't know how a mountain is going to be moved. Things seem so big, and it seems like I can't overcome them. And I begin to feel in those times like I can't see my way forward. Just don't. I feel alone. Though I could be surrounded by people, I feel alone. But then we know that we're never alone. It's just a moment of falling asleep. And I know that. And when I, in that slumber that I can wake up, I remember I am not alone, ever. I am the beloved, and so are you. And there's something that in those times of suffering, when we're going through hardship and suffering, and we forget that, the allness of God is right where we are. We tend to lose our sense of belonging. We lose it. Belonging to this greater energy. We feel cut away from source of life. And then something wonderful happens. I don't know if you can identify, but I know it's happened in my life. Like a moment of pure grace shows up. And you're flooded with this awareness, this pure awareness that you belong to a loving, incredible, powerful energy that will never leave you and will never forsake you. And that is always working all together for your good. It is within us and around us. It is everywhere. And in those moments of pure awareness, there is like how can I say it? It's like instinctively, no one has to teach us. Instinctively, Our spirit wants to connect. And we pray. John O'Donoghue, a philosopher and Irish mystic, said, prayer is the voice of longing inside of us. It reaches outward and inward to unearth our ancient belonging. We have always belonged. Sometimes we forget, but we have always belonged. And we have this amazing capacity to connect, to have communion with the life that flows through us, the power of the universe, through prayer. So prayer is very, very, very powerful. And there is no, lots of times, I'm asked, well, how do we pray? Teach me. How do we do it? And I always say there is no right and there is no wrong way to pray. None. There's no formula to follow. You will pray depending on your understanding of God. What is your understanding of God? What is God? How does God work? And what is God's relationship to us humans? Sometimes I get a kick out of listening to children pray. Have you heard children pray? They're just so wonderful. So recently, as I was preparing for this message, I came across these two prayers from children, and I love it because they're so sincere. They really are. And they know God in their own understanding. So I want to share this one with you. This is a boy, he says, "Our Father, who does art in heaven, Harold is your name." I thought that was adorable. There was another one that said, "Dear God, thank you for the baby brother, but what I really asked was for a puppy. I'd never asked for anything else. You can look it up." Clearly, those children had a relationship. They prayed to the God of their understanding. And I'm sure as they grow like we do, that our prayers will change because our understanding of God evolves, how God works, and how we are in relationship with this presence. The way we prayed as children changes because our awareness of truth expands our consciousness. So let's take a look for a moment at the way that God is understood by some of the major religions that are out there. In the book, Davenport makes reference to a man called Ken Wilber, and he speaks of the three faces of God, how people perceive and understand God to be. He says that in the first person, God within the divine essence of every human being, the soul of a higher self that creates and provides exactly what you need for this lifetime. But this God, it's outside of us. And he says that this God is within us, It's God within us. Let me read that again. The God within, the divine essence of every human being, the soul of a higher self that creates and provides exactly what you need for this lifetime. That's pretty cool God. Or it could be the traditional God, where a personal God who knows what is going on in your life and will respond with love, because God is love. Will comfort, will provide guidance, but God is outside of you in a different place, never the two to come together. And then he says there is the third understanding of God as transcendent. All that is, the very ground of our being, the universe, principle, law, creation. These are the three ways that major religions see and understand God. So I want to kind of go a little bit deeper with each one of these. And I want to start with the second one, which it says that the personal God who knows what's going on in your life and responds with love and gives you guidance and comfort, but lives outside of you. That God, you talk to that God. You have a personal relationship with God, but know that God is not within you. That's how they understand it. God is outside of you. And your prayers, when you have that kind of understanding of God, is usually you say, "Dear God." So there is truly clearly an I and thou relationship in that understanding of God. God in the first person has a greater mystery, something to really grasp to, pretty much like we do in unity. God is not something outside of us, but within us. And we are one with God. Wherever I am, God is. There's absolutely an unbreakable connection, a bond. You know, when I began to come to Unity, and I heard this for the first time, I began to wonder, well, I don't get it. When I pray, then, who am I praying to myself? Because, you know, God is within. So what am I doing? I'm praying to myself. I couldn't get it. See, I had always aimed my prayers out there. So now where do I aim my prayers? Where do they go now? So I learned that Unity teaches us to, when God is within, when you know that truth, that you are a child of God, created in the image and likeness of God, that everything that you need is right here within, God is your source. Then when you pray affirmatively. You pray declaring the truth that you know, to remember, to let it anchor in your consciousness. It's all about going within and connect with the power within you to strengthen you and uplift you. It's not to become beggars because you have everything already. It's about remembering your divine essence. And so your prayers may sound something like this. You affirm that there is the presence of God. I know that right now I am immersed within the presence that permeates all things, from which all things flow. And I am grateful. I know that I am a beautiful, dynamic child of God, that I live in a universe of abundance. I have everything I need to carry out my life purpose. I am so grateful. That's affirmative prayer. And affirmations do not, how can I say it? Affirmations do not make something true. They remind you that they are already true. Big difference. They remind you of how the universe works and who you really are and your relationship with God. That you are a spiritual being. Never forget that. You're just wearing a human suit so you can function here. The third person God, the third face that we understand God, is a God that we celebrate the awe and the mystery of God in that type of a prayer. It acknowledges the magnificence of creation, the transcendence of source. If I could tell you, if you ever been to a scene that it almost took your breath away and you go, wow, you ever been there? That's a prayer that came from that third face of God, the awareness of the magnificence of God. Now, no one prayer is better than the other. They're all heard. They're all powerful. None of them is better than the other. Davenport says that they're like tools in a drawer, and you use them as you need them. Because prayer is very deeply personal. It's your relationship with the source of your being. For me, the relationship between God and myself has evolved. It has become one of co-creator. I am a co-creator with God of my life. God and I move. In God I move and I breathe and I have my being. And I know that my thoughts, my feelings, create the experience of my reality. I am not a victim, ever. I'm not a puppet of some supreme being somewhere who controls my life. And neither are you. Divine life works in me and in you. It works in me, through me, and for me. And it does the same thing for you. Always for your good. So my prayers do not edge God out. God is so part of my prayer because we are co-creating the experience of my reality. I know that God is everywhere where I am. And my work in prayer is to let go of anything that doesn't align with that truth. I can surrender. I can lean upon this beautiful, loving presence because we are one, where He's always there. God is always there. I can go and lean on it. I can ask for guidance. I can tap into the guidance because it's right here. All I need is right within me. Even when I lean on God, there is something else that is true. That I must take responsibility for my thoughts and my words and my action. Because I'm co-creating. I'm co-creating with God. So I have a responsibility. And this is how, with that idea of knowing that I'm co-creating my experience with God, that I can lean on God, that I can surrender and trust, that I have everything that I need, this is how I move through the hallway. This is how you will move through the hallway. I act, and so does God. Jesus said, the Father and I are one. His prayer was, may they know that they are one with you. Now, I'll warn you about something about prayer. Get ready, because there are certain prayers you should be careful about when you pray. Davenport says they're dangerous prayers because they can invite into your life the unexpected, and something shocking, some shocking developments in your life can happen. For example, you ever prayed, reveal what needs to be revealed, and heal what needs to be healed? You ever prayed that? Ooh, that's a dangerous prayer, I've got to tell you. Because be prepared to discover something about yourself that you did not know. Maybe something you don't want to know. You buried it so deeply. And now it's going to show up because you want to be healed. And you have to deal with whatever shows up. If you pray that prayer, be prepared to know that you are strong enough to deal with whatever shows up. It is trying to help you heal. It is revealing it to you. Once what needs to be revealed is dragged out, the shadows into the light, then you could begin to release it. Because you don't even know that it's been there sometimes, that you've held on to unforgiveness and judgments or whatever it is you've held on to. So it begins to come out to the light and you can release it. That is answered prayer. It'll make you uncomfortable. They would open up things in you that you did not realize were still there. So it's a dangerous prayer, but a powerful prayer that will heal you. And some of the things that you will need to do in that healing process, you will never do alone because God is where you are. Grace will see you through. Healing will require your active participation, but never, ever, ever forget God is right there with you, that you have everything that you need. Here's another prayer. I prayed this prayer, and I finally got the results that I wanted, and I was really challenged. Lead me where you need me. And speak to me in ways I cannot possibly misunderstand. Boy, if you pray that prayer, you better be willing to surrender. I mean, really. As Jesus said, not my will, but thy will be done. Because you're going to get a clear message, all right? And you will be divided, and that message is going to divinely guide you to a place of purpose and service to others. Because you have come here for that. You have a purpose. I don't care how old you are. You are here to serve. So if you pray that prayer, or for instance, here's another one. Pray for patience. Oh, if you pray for patience, be prepared that there are going to be many opportunities that will show up in your life to get you to practice patience. And notice that none of these prayers are about demanding God to take over. You are collaborating with God. There's a story in Davenport's book that is about a visit that she made to a hospital to a friend, one of her congregants. He was facing his second round of chemo. He was so sick the day that she arrived. He couldn't even stand up. And so Davenport prayed with him. And after Davenport finished praying, this is what the man said. This was his prayer. He had his own little prayer. He says, "What a joy it is to be here." Davenport, she was surprised, but realized that he was not talking about being in the hospital, but about being in oneness with pure love, to be there, to be aware that all things are possible because we live in a field of infinite possibilities, an ocean of abundance, and anything is possible. We don't have to know what will happen or how. We don't. We can hold all possibilities. That man that prayed that prayer has spiritual courage. He knew that there was something greater within him than what was happening in his physical being. And he knew that it was a joy to be there with it. I wonder, my prayer is that we can all be able to say that prayer no matter what is going on in our lives. What a joy it is to be here. And to allow ourselves to feel gratitude. Because gratitude opens us up to receive. So my friends, you are a part of God. You have an unbreakable connection with the divine. Communion with God is only through prayer. So take time to pray. There's no right or wrong way. Allow your spirit to guide you. How you pray will depend, is very personal. And your thoughts about God will guide you in how you pray. And in time, that will evolve. And I encourage you, like that man did, bathe everything that shows up in your life with love, not worry. Prayer is not to focus on worry. You're talking to the pure essence of love that holds everything. Bathe everything in your life with love. We're all going to be in the hallway at one time or another, multiple times. Who knows? But we know that we know we're never alone in that hallway. God is with us. God is expressing through us We are God's manifestation right here. Change will come. I'm going to share some changes that are coming right here in our community. And changes are opportunities, really. You're going to notice that we're going to have some changes all over the place. We had just one this morning. You didn't have to wear your mask. It was an option. That was a change, right? In our office, Denise and Tim are opening themselves up to opportunities, to what the universe has in store for them. They have served as office staff so lovingly and faithfully, and we are grateful. So their last day in the office will be next week sometime. And I want us to really bless them with all of our love, because they're still going to be members of our community. They're still going to come, and they're still going to be members here, and they're going to participate. Who knows what possibilities will open for them. They're just opening themselves up to other possibilities. There's infinite possibilities out there. And we want to love them and bless them and see the highest good for them. And Linda Ryan, some of you already know, is moving. She's moving to be closer to her family. And so there's a change there. Linda Ryan has served this community so beautifully. You know, she serves as a board member on the finance committee, and over the summer she came and helped out in the bookstore. And I got to say to you that during this pandemic, these three individuals have been an anchor for me and for you. And we love them, and we bless them, and we appreciate them, and we want to see the highest and the greatest good. So we have, before you leave, flyers that have their addresses so that you can send them your own card. Send them a card, send them your blessing, whatever gifts you want to give them, because everything changes. And we embrace change with love. We bathe everything with love. And anything that's bathed in love will grow and will flourish. So my sweet Denise is in the back of the room. Make sure that you see her and hug. I'll give you permission to hug on her if you want to. And love on her. Denise, you have been... Okay, no words. So I love and bless you. And so remember, things will change. We will go into the hallway, but we're never alone in that hallway. We have each other. And most of all, there is God. God is right where we are, and all things are working all together for our good. Namaste.
Somebody hurting, someone needs a hand. There's someone out there somewhere suffering. No matter what it is you're going through, this prayer's for you, this prayer's for you. If you've lost a loved one or lost your way, if you find yourself without a place to stay, yeah, no matter what it is you're going through, this prayer's for you, this prayer's for you, for you. My friend, I pray.
There's somebody hurting. Someone needs a hand. There's someone out there somewhere suffering. No matter what it is you're going through, this prayer's for you. This prayer's for you. This prayer's for you. This prayer's for you.
Beautiful song. We do need so much prayer today. We truly do. Not just for us, but for our world. Please remember our world when you pray. So it's that time in our service now to give of our gifts, our tithes, and our offerings. And we want to acknowledge the gifts that you are sending. We're so very, very grateful to all of you who are with us for sending in your checks, your contributions online, for all your gifts and your tithes that make it possible for us to continue to come together. Please take your gifts in your hands and affirm your offering blessings with me. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I send forth this gift with my blessings and my love. Well, thank you for being with us today. We hope that you have been uplifted and energized, and that you can go through your week feeling God's love in every place that you go. Will you affirm the prayer of protection with me? The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. So have a wonderful week, many blessings, and I think Rev Luz has a few words that she'd like to share with you today. Namaste.
And so I'll be really quick. I do want to say to you that when we are back together, we're going to celebrate a lot of people formally. We're going to do something really special. We're going to have a party, okay? We will have a party. So hold on until then. I do want to remind you, if you haven't seen your weekly wake up, that on June 6th, please mark your calendar, not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. We're going to have a very special gathering. It's a community gathering that we're calling a Springing Forward. You know, where the spring, there's new birth, there's new things happening, and that service will be very, very different. So I would say more on the weekly wake up. Please look at your weekly wake up. I'll announce more. I won't be here next week. Please support Jan Larson, who will be your guest speaker, and then I will be back for the June 6th special community gathering, Springing Forward. Sunday service. Anyway, I hope to see you then. Have a blessed, wonderful week. And would you stand with me and sing the peace song before we leave?
There's somebody hurting. Someone needs a hand. There's someone out there somewhere suffering. No matter what it is you're going through, this prayer's for you. This prayer's for you. If you've lost a loved one or lost your way, if you find yourself without a place to stay, yeah, no matter what it is you're